Amid reignited trade tensions between the U.S. and China, the EU's position isn't always clear. Some of its leaders criticize the communist regime, but many try to protect their own economic interests at the same time. Our France correspondent sat down with the director of Paris's economic warfare school, who says they're playing a very dangerous game.
The Chinese city of Wuhan is not only the origin of the CCP virus, it's also a gateway for French industry. But the global pandemic has forced some French companies to rethink their business dealings with China. French car manufacturer Renault is one of them. It's adjusting its strategy in China by halting part of its production there in April. But other companies plan to continue their cooperation with the Chinese regime. Christian Harbelot, director of Paris's economic warfare school, says the health crisis presents a chance for French companies to consider whether or not operating inside China is a good strategic move.
These French businesses located in China seem to forget that they're under the rule of a communist dictatorship, which is a criminal regime by nature.
The rules that govern international trade were largely shaped by the US and Europe. As trade tensions again rise between the US and China, for Europe, doing business with China is also a question of politics. It's still unclear whether the EU will side with the United States and exert its own pressure over the regime. The EU's foreign policy chief Joseph Borrell told French media JDD that the EU shouldn't be naive about China. But he added in another interview that his job is to maintain a good relationship with China. According to Harbelot, this position is a very dangerous one. In a recent report published by the Economic Warfare School, Harbelot stated that because China doesn't have the military means necessary to conquer Europe, it targets the economy instead.
China tries to bring down Western countries by stealing their technology and weakening their industries.
He says European leaders are now at a crossroad.
They can choose to side with US and prevent China from subduing Western countries. Or they can choose to continue this game, where they criticize China while still trying to protect their own economic interests. This choice would be suicide, I think.
Reporting by David Vives, NTD News.